Today we get to survive the wasteland with a Fallout, Wasteland Warfare Deathclaw. Yo dog, Kenny Boucher here, Next Level Painting, hitting you up on the literal best of all days, coming to you from the Beats Lab in Hollywood, California. We're doing it again. Today, we get to work on something near and dear to my heart, Fallout miniatures by Modifius. They handed out a couple of minis in the last couple of months over on the Twitch stream. You guys got your hands on those during February Viewer Appreciation Month. Well, I've got a Deathclaw and we're gonna paint it. But not just any paint scheme. We're gonna do an irradiated Deathclaw, Fallout 4 style. So I'm gonna cover a couple of basic trips and steps to making this effect look good with minimal effort. Of course, we'll be taking this model to that next level over on Twitch, which is the home of the live tutorials. If you guys can do me a favor, let's just start moving over there. Hit that follow button, get those notifications, you will not be sad. Obviously, we're back from Adepticon 2018. It was a blast. I went 3-1. I got 3 max wins. I took a loss to Dominic. Big shout out there. All my opponents, everybody we got to kick it with, handies and hugs all weekend. We got a thread going over on Facebook, guys. Check it out. If you have a picture, we took a selfie together, just sling it over there so I can get tagged in it. I will start putting those pictures into my slideshow over on Twitch. If you want to hear more about Adepticon, the new episode of the podcast is out for download right now. Just check that out, guys. If you guys don't mind, I'm going to shout out a couple of clutch individuals over on Patreon, which is obviously my crowdfunding page. It's how I keep the lights on and how we provide the VIP access to everything we do here. Real quick, Scott, Douglas, Yo-Yo, Lane, Aaron, Guy, Larry, Todd, Marionville, Sean, Richard, Timothy, Rachel, John, Traynor, Xavier, Kai, Michael, Kat, Douglas. Guys, thank you so much. You came in so clutch in the last 2 weeks. We were actually off the air last week, dog. I literally can't do it without you. Anyway, guys, let's bang it out. Let's do this thing, guys. Here it is, Deathclaw, Fallout, Wasteland Warfare by Modifius. I'm stoked on this. We're going to be jumping in with some Tire Black from Secret Weapon Miniatures. We're going to be relying on an airbrush, a little bit of flow improver. We're going to be using our patented Gangster Gumbo system. We're going to lay down a couple of thin coats. Basically, the system here, guys, we're going to do some base coats, some dry brushing technique, a little bit more airbrushing, and I'm going to use one cool effect I haven't shown you guys before. So right now, lay down several thin coats with that Tire Black. Can't say enough good things about Secret Miniatures and Tire Black. Obviously, one of the best in the business. If you guys were at Adepticon 2018 and you participated in the scavenger hunt, you may have brought home some Tire Black. All right, rubber highlight. We got all them base coats down. We're gonna mix a little rubber highlight in with the Tire Black. We're gonna pull out one of these new Bombwick utility dry brushes, and we're just gonna do some basic dry brushing. Now what we're doing is top to bottom. We're not going against the grain, left, right, up, down, sideways. We're just going up, down, up, down. Trying to catch all the ridges. It's going to be a nice, subtle texture. He's going to look a little stony, which is kind of what I want. I looked at a lot of pictures on the internet of Deathclaws in Fallout 4, one of my favorite video game franchises of all fucking time, because I love those irradiated ones. So we're going to be digging into this olive and this Necrotite green. These are both of Privateer Press P3 formula, one of the other best paints in the game. We're going to mix up a very thin concoction of the olive color. Super thin. We're basically glazing it on over all that we just did. This is going to be a simple paint job designed to get it on the table. Play some Wasteland Warfare with this mini. Yo, literally, you don't have to be scared of painting miniatures. So we're just going to build it up. Treat this as kind of like the glow from within. Because the way I look at these Deathclaws is they're glowing from within, and it's like bursting at the points in their bodies. So we're focusing on the mouth, kind of like the wrist and back. I looked at a lot of pictures. It wasn't actually just like their hands and their claws. It was like coming from their wrist and out. It was coming from their spine. It was also coming from their tail, their mouths. And then they had a lot of almost glowing crevices and cracks in their rocky, stony armor. pretty interesting, so I'm trying to go with that on a picture that I found on the internet. As you can see, after a couple of thin coats, we're getting that natural effect. The green is kind of is a part of it. It's coming from within. And then we're going to start building it up from here. We're doing several thin coats, let it dry, do another quick little pass because we want the texture of that dry brushing to show through a little bit from the previous step. This is a quick paint job. This is super easy. Anybody can do this who owns an airbrush all day, every day. All right. Round 2, we're going to pull out a little bit of that necrotite green and we're going to start focusing down on where the most concentrated, irradiated parts of his body are, which are his wrists right now. Same thing, we got a subtle concoction, glazing it in. We're going to focus down on his mouth because there's definitely a lot there. Like to the point where you can't see any details inside of his face. Build that up, get it on the spine. We're going to get it on the tail all in due time right here. We're just being careful, methodical, as it were. Making sure that we're getting those builds up clean. We want some of the texture to still show through. That's what we're just taking our time and I just blasted it on. Here we go. Now we're going to just start building it up again. We let it all dry. Round 2. Build it up. You got to just go over it many times. Like basically when you paint out of an airbrush, it's just kind of stays in a semi-state of translucence. It's not opaque. You got to do multiple thin passes to get what you're looking for, which is the desired effect. Building it up, focusing down, letting some of the overspray do what it do, creating that subtle effect. Not a true OSL effect, like I said, more of like he's burning from within with radiation. So we're going to grab some of that Flash Gets Yellow, one of the best in the business. We're going to mix that in with the necrotite green, and we're going to focus down, get real close to those joints where it's popping right on his hand, kind of his wrist. Like I said, it's weird. Normally I would just assume it was like his hand and pull it back. It's absolutely deliberately not that way in the artwork. It's more like this. Build it up, a little bit necrotite green, kind of 50-50 with that yellow. Too easy. Same thing, focus down on his face. And then you can go as hard in this technique as you want. You can add more yellow, less green. You can even add a drop of white in there if you want. Definitely always make sure there's yellow involved though if you want to go the white route to irradiate it even further. Entirely up to you. I'm feeling pretty good about this. So let's just hit it with pass 2, pure Flash Gets Yellow. No green whatsoever. Now he's starting to get that irradiated look. That's what I'm going for right there. He is terrifying. He looks exactly like how I remember him in the game. Coming at me hot. But there's a few things we still have to do here. Not done yet. Here it is. Fallout. There's literally a color called Fallout by Secret Weapon Miniatures and Les Bruce Lee, one of my main men. This dude put together an epic wash formula. We're going to take this Fallout wash and we're going to just start kind of tracing some of the crevices. Because in the artwork, it's like some of these cracks in his armor are glowing from within with this irradiation. So we're just going to just trace some of those spots, let it go flow into the crevices, let it dry, do a couple of passes. It'll look beyond tabletop in just a few minutes. But of course, like I said earlier in the video, we're going to take it way beyond this. We're going to definitely come through, highlight all these greens, make sure his eyes are popping. We're going to have to get some irradiation on his horns, get his nails, get his claws, get him on his epic base. Modifius did such a great job with these. We gave out super mutants, vault dwellers, wasteland refugees. I mean, we gave out everything in February. This is definitely one of the sickest games I've been waiting for all year. Licensed, proper, one of the dopest IPs in the game in my opinion. So anyway, as you can see, we're following those cracks, doing a little bit of tracing, building it up, kind of just letting our hand guide us. Anywhere you see in the armor that there's an opening where maybe something could be glowing out of it. It's hard to explain. It's that simple. We're just kind of freeform here. We're going to flip him around, get to his back, get to his tail, let it all dry, do a second pass. Basically, once it all dries and we're happy with it, treat it as like the first step in a true highlight. Because I would like to take all of these areas that we're washing with this Fallout color, and I would like to bring them to that yellow, bring them to that peaked out, irradiated glow. Like he's totally off the hook, glowing. You see, we're getting something on the neck. He has like plated armor everywhere, and there's a place to jam this Fallout wash all up and down this guy's business. Now, I'm not a radiation scientist, but I assume radiation is green. So that makes sense why this color is called Fallout. Too easy. Big shout out to Justin over at Secret Weapon Miniatures and Brian. Got to meet those guys this weekend at Adepticon. Solid dudes. Big shout out to Dallas over at P3. Using some P3 paints in this video. It sounds like it's a paid ad, but I promise it's not. These guys gave me a model. I decided to paint it whatever the fuck colors I wanted. Dude, I'm almost out of words. Like, I just love this model, bro. Like, I've been waiting to paint this for months. And now that we came back from Adepticon, it is the first thing I'm working on. Stoked beyond belief. I put in about 1 billion hours on Fallout 3. It's probably my favorite single player RPG in existence. And there he is, tabletop quality, ready to go, ready to get my first game of Wasteland Warfare under my belt. Thanks to Modifius, locking down my favorite IP of all time. Play on, players.